Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. All right. Let's get right to it. Gonna go ahead and post. We are live. Perfect. Everybody can hear me. Audio's good, video's good. If so, let me know and we'll get right to it. Relaxing, calming sounds. Good morning. Daniel Gonzalez, good morning. Good morning, everyone. How's the audio? How's the video? Is everything okay? Can everybody hear me? Diana, good morning. Joey, good morning. Mr. Needham, good morning. Edgar, good morning. Perfect. Looks like we have some good audio and video. Morning, Mr. RF91. All good. Perfect. Mr. Needham, all good. Wilson, good morning. Joey, thumbs up. Oscar, good morning. All right, as usual, guys, we'll wait for about 5 minutes and we'll get kicked off at 8:35. Sky, yes, loud and clear. Is this the new Hulk machine? No, actually. It's still my laptop. Last night I got most of the new machine done. Everything is set up, everything boots up. I just have to install the Thinkorswim and streaming softwares and we'll be good to go. So currently the only thing that's on that computer is YouTube and I'm watching the chat on that window. But currently I am still on the laptop streaming this content right here. Iffy, good morning. Ganesh, good morning. All right, 8:34 here. We got a few minutes and we'll get it kicked off. Idris, good morning, my man. How you doing? Don, good morning. All right, a few minutes and we'll get it kicked off. If you guys are here, go ahead and smash the like button. Just so YouTube can like me a little bit more. All right, we got 8:35 here, so we'll get right to it. Jobless claims numbers came out slightly under than what was expected, but nothing too major, nothing too serious here. However, let's take a look at the intraday, see what happened. We're actually getting a pop on that jobless numbers. All right, so let's go back to the charts. What happened here, guys? So, we've talked about, again, I sound like a broken record. We've talked about this 50-day moving average and how we constantly see bounces at it, right? A little bit of more selling pressure coming into this moving average. And yesterday, we actually found a nice bottom right above that 443 area and kind of broke out I guess it was around 11 a.m. and we kind of pushed steady all the way up. All right, now what I was concerned about here was a vital 448, 448.50 level that I'll show you guys shortly. And what I was worried with that was that we see a rejection. All right. Regardless, we got this little bounce. We have to play our levels now to see if we can, hold that 443, 445 area and continue to go back higher and track all-time highs, or do we sell off and possibly break below the 50 and get that wick and see if we get some buying pressure. All right. So again, overall, still holding the 50, still in an uptrend. Until we lose the 50 and have a few days closed below the 50, then that's when we're really looking to, switch biases and see if we can take some stuff on the downside. All right, let me put my levels on here. We'll get closer to a closer time frame so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And here we are, right? So as we were moving up, we had this resistance at 452 and we got that rejection there, right? And then we held this 448.50, 448.15 level, which was the vital level that I was referring to, right? And this is on September 10th. Sorry, my calendars are all messed up. September 10th was on Friday. So Friday, we saw that big sell-off. We lost the 448 level, and, we had that big sell-off to the 445. Here we are again, back to 448.50, 448.15, boom, rejected, right? One more time, they rushed it up, they pushed it up to that 448.50, 448.15, boom, rejected again. And here we are again. Yesterday going into the close, I was a little concerned about buying things overnight because of this 448.50, 448.15 level overhead. And I said, what if we reject this, like we have continuously been rejecting, and kind of sell off? And so far early in the morning, that did happen. All right, so what are we looking at here? We really need to keep an eye on this 448.50, 448.15 in order to have a bias switch, right? We can see that we've had rejection 1, 2, 3, 4 times, right? Multiple times rejection of this level. So unless we get over this 448.50, it's going to be hard to try to, long things into this area. We really need to clear this, and we need to clear it with some strength like we did so yesterday here with these big volume bars, big candles, and we just took off, right? So we need some sort of consolidation right under here and a break right above, and it will push us to 450, 452, and that'll be how we're going to trade it on the long side. All right. However, now currently this 446 is a slight level that we can monitor as a short-term support. Why? We have some resistance here, we have some resistance here, and now we're above it, so it's going to act as support. Right? So that 446 area is going to be an area to monitor, and we bounced right off of it with this jobless claims numbers. Now if we roll over, ultimately 445.32 and then 443.96. However, this is that chop area. I don't want to be in this chop area. We were in it for about a few hours yesterday, and we finally broke out. So if we get back under it, might be a little choppy unless we lose the 443.96. Then we can try to play puts or play it on the downside, because we will have room towards that 441 or the 50-day moving average on the SPY. Okay, that's as far as the SPY goes. So main levels to watch: 448.50, and on the downside 445 and 443. We break those, we go lower. We break these two, we go higher. Let's take a look at the Qs. Pop back up to the daily. Get rid of all these levels. Boom. So, just comparing the two side by side, we can see that the Qs are still slightly in a better condition. We have the SPYs at the 50. We have the Qs currently above the 20, right? So slightly doing better here. And it was a good candle they put in yesterday. And I was actually, optimistic about it. But again, because of where the SPY was, it was really hard to kind of trust the ride up right there. So ideally, if we can get this above that 378 level, we can see a move higher, but still, again, overall doing very well above the 20-day moving average. And we see these bottom wicks telling us that there's some buyers actually stepping up at these levels. Let's take a look at the closer time frame. So closer time frame, similar story again, where we have that rejection. Let's put all the lines back here. We have that rejection. However, we do have room towards that 379.44. Okay, the level that we're looking at on the Qs here is this 376.50, 376.56 level. If we can hold this, we can attempt to track back to these highs yesterday, right? Clearly we can see that there's some resistance here yesterday. So if we hold this 376, we could track back to the 378 and then ultimately 379, and then we have lots of resistance on the upside here. So 380 and then 380.78. Okay. However, we lose that. We can see that the next support down is ideally right here around the 375 and then 373, 371. What I don't want here, I don't want the Qs to lose this 372 because let me show you what will happen if that happens. We have a big area right here down to 368. Okay, now if we pop back up to the daily, where's our 50-day moving average sitting at? 368.98 is where our daily moving average is, our 50-day moving averages. If we lose this last support right here, we have a big hollow drop right to that 50-day moving average. So that's going to be an area that I'm going to be watching very closely. If we do come down to this 373, 371.97 area, I really need this to hold, because if we don't, we're going to get a nice flush. Will this happen today? I don't think so. I highly doubt that we're going to go from 376 all the way down to 368. But if the SPY pulls, if the market pulls, we could see the retest of the 373. All right, guys. So with that said, I'm going to pop back into the chat here, see if you guys have any questions, go over some of the tickers that you guys want me to look at, and we'll take it from there. Wow, SPY going up, but not the Qs. Yeah, so the SPY got that pump from the jobless claims numbers. And it's doing a pretty good job holding its weight right now. But again, we really need to get this thing back above. We need to retest these 448, 448.15, 448.50 area. Okay, and we really need to clear those levels. Bishnu, good morning, man. How you doing? All right. Let's see. One ticker that I'm actually looking at today is Dash. We had Dash on the watch list for a few days in a row now. However, Dash now kind of broke out of this little resistance that I had drawn on it. Let me take it right there. So we have this little resistance line. We broke out of it. It has an upgrade today. So it does have room to the 225 area. So we'll be keeping an eye on this one as well, and see how it wants to react with that upgrade and with this little wedge break here. Let's take a look at Microsoft. Ganesh wants to talk about Microsoft. So Microsoft, great chart, man. I mean, nice push yesterday, and unfortunately it wasn't able to break above that 305, 306 area. It has resistance up here at 306, so Microsoft really needs to track and get back above this 306 level in order to push it through, so we can see at least the 310, 313. All right, it's just having a hard time again, simply because the market is kind of pulling, but look how we had this nice aggressive move up with increased volume, which is a great sign. And then we had these pullbacks into this 20 moving average or even this prior breakout area, and we pushed right up. All right, so ideally here with Microsoft, we need the market's help, push it above the 306, and then we can see the 310, 313. And ultimately at the higher fib levels, you're looking at 324, but a long way to go until you get there. Let's take a look at PayPal. I was wondering about PayPal. So PayPal, great little setup we had here, right? We had massive increased volume on this buy, nice pullback, closing above the 50-day moving average, and decreasing volume on the pullback days. So this is essentially an A+ setup here. And then you have increasing volume on the next move up. We close above this prior high, which is again another great sign, puts us in a gap fill area. However, the market decided to just yank and just ruin this absolute setup. So everybody who chased this long is now kind of stuck in a tough spot, and we're now just fighting sellers and dip buyers here. Okay. Currently under the 50-day moving average, closed above the 20-day moving average. Not the best look for it right now. Really need to get this thing back above at least 286 for it to try to attempt this 292. However, if it starts coming back down and losing this 279 or 277 area, it could very easily come back down to 274 and then even down towards the 270 area on PayPal. So keep an eye on it. Be careful with it. It really needs to get back above the 50-day moving average, or it could very easily roll over here. Can you please let me know what you think about LSCC? LSCC here, nice and steady uptrend. Let's take a look, go back further. So pretty much been moving up since 2018, constantly. There's a dip buy on the 200-day moving average and just going higher and higher and higher. Okay, so obviously a very bullish move. What's the game plan here? If you had got in at around, this breakout of right here, 64.30, probably would have been the best entry. If you're not in, maybe wait for the retest or a pullback into the 20 or the 50 before buying it, because you can see every time it comes to these 20 and the 50 moving averages, it continues to get bought up, right? Where can it go from here? Let's use some fibs, right? So right now it's fighting that fib of 65, 66 area. Above that, it could really easily push it to 72. But again, it's a stock that moves very slowly, right? I think it opened at 64.50. It closed at 65.70. So about $1 a day, maybe a little bit more than $1 a day. If it can clear this 65.75, 65.80 area, maybe it pushes a little bit more, but it's going to be a slow and steady move on this one. Do you think a rest day for Microsoft, more upside possible? Microsoft the issue is not the actual Microsoft ticker itself. I think the issue that we're having right now is the market overall. We're seeing rejection at levels, and it's preventing Microsoft from exploding. If we were in a normal market condition where the market wasn't acting iffy at around the 448.50, this thing would have exploded. Look at the volume on it yesterday, right? People are definitely coming in here and buying this thing and buying it on above average volume. We had a great push here on above average volume. These volumes that you're looking at on a stock that is around $305 to trade around 40 million shares, that's a lot of market cap that's being dumped into the stock, right? So yesterday around 28 million shares was traded. So I don't think it's so much Microsoft that's having the issue. I think it's the market overall. If the market decides to go sideways or just kind of be steady, I think Microsoft is going to do great. Microsoft can push up and break that 306. However, it needs the market's help. And if it doesn't get it, then it's just going to either follow the market or stay sideways and kind of go chopping. Ideally, yes, if we can get that rest day, and if we can get it to maintain above that 301 level, then we can try to attempt it again, maybe for a Friday push over that 306. But I want it to continuously make higher highs here. That will be the good sign on it. ON for long above yesterday's high. Let's take a look at ON. What is it sitting at pre-market here? So it's kind of pulling. Yesterday's high would have been around 49.30. Some pre-market rejection at 49.50. Yeah, I mean, it would have to really come up and clear 49.50, right? Because we have some rejection here in the pre-market at 49.50. It would have to clear 49.50, and then you can kind of try to take it up towards the 50.50 area and 51 area. But again, because we've seen this rejection here at the 49.50 area, we can't neglect that. We have to, if we take a long here at 49.23, which is I think yesterday's high, we might run into resistance at 49.50 because there's just there is selling pressure there, right? Whether that's right under the $50 whole number, people are just putting orders so they can get out. We would need to clear that 49.50, and then 50 psychological number would be the next area to kind of monitor on the top side here. AFIRM, I have a 110 call for October 15th. Should I sell? I'm only down 10%. AFIRM. AFRM, I think you mean? Yeah, I think you mean AFRM. I have a 110 call. October 15th, should I sell? I'm only down 10%. So I think you got to ask yourself, what was the reason behind buying this call? Because I don't really see a pattern in this. If you bought it yesterday, maybe you bought it yesterday at the push, or I'm not really sure when you bought it, but the reason why we wait for setups is so we can have a plan on it. Right now you bought it, it's kind of just consolidating, and it could continue to consolidate before it actually shows you its hand. To me, ideally, if this breaks above 112.75, 113, it can push back up towards 115 and then reattempt at 120, right? But it's kind of consolidating here, and under this 105 area, it'll probably actually open it up towards this 102, and then it puts it in a big gap fill area on the way down here. So it's still consolidating, it's still sideways. There's really nothing I can say other than it needs to get above 102.75 or get below 105 in order for it to sell off. So since you're on the calls, you still have a few weeks to go here. Ideally needs to get above 102.75. If it breaks down under the 105 area, you might want to reconsider holding or buying some more time essentially, but I don't recommend it if the pattern kind of breaks down. Idris, thank you. No problem, my man. Can you check PZZA? The volume and the bounce from EM looks good. Yeah, so pull back into the moving average, right? Nice volume shelf here. You can see lots of above average green volumes on pizza, Papa John's here. And nice little move off of that 20-day moving average, again with nice volume. Currently sitting at 130 in the pre-market. Let's take a look. I don't mind this at all. Okay, if we can get this back above 132, or if you want to start a position here with stops right around that 125 psychological number, but the move is going to happen over this 132 area. Okay, over this prior high of 132. Once you break that, you can continue to see this higher push here. Let's see where we're going, probably to 136 and then 145, or again 136 and possibly I would say 140 before we track any higher. Okay, simply for that psychological number. So not a bad area. Good volume coming into it here. I think is a great start. That volume, increasing volume right there, and if it breaks over the 132.17, I think it can push higher here as well. All right, let's take a look at BYND. I think BYND had some downgrades on it. Currently sitting at 107. What was it at? Sitting at 107.32. So this thing is just getting demolished, and the next support on this really is 100. So we'll be keeping an eye on this one as well today to see what it wants to do. But some downgrades on this. I think a 98 price target on it came out. So I'm going to watch this one as well and see what it does. Ganesh, thank you. You're very welcome, my man. Tesla, nice day, put in a nice day yesterday, but again, market kind of pulled back, and now we're sitting at 751. Really want this over the 764.70, 765 area, and then we can kind of push it towards that 180, 180.79, 180.80 area. So watching this to see if we can kind of break above. You can see I have all sorts of lines drawn here on Tesla, and every time it breaks out, it gets a nice push. Broke out, got a nice push. So we're waiting to see if we can get this breakout here with 764.70 or 765, and then push it up towards that 780.54. All right, Edgar, thank you, brother. No problem. Guys, remember, I will be live every Thursday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time for you guys to kind of come in and let me know what you need. Nancy's asking about BABA support. I got support right here at that 150, 158 on BABA, and then 147, right? Gapping down again. Obviously, with the China news, we can see that there's lots of selling happening in the stock. But let's zoom out on BABA, okay? These are the levels we're trading at. We're trading at levels dated back to 2019, okay? Every time BABA has come down to these levels, we've seen nice buying pressure on it, all right? To me, this is a long term. To me, this is something I'm holding long term. But I love these prices on it. I love it simply because not too long ago, we were at 320. And aside from all these regulations they're throwing at these companies down in China, there's nothing really they've done to change their business model to kind of affect their sales going forward. I think when all this regulations and noise is said and done, we're gonna get these stocks to kind of track back. How long will it take? I'm not sure. Obviously, long terms, I'm looking at least 2+ years on these things. So we'll see. Keep monitoring it. But I think these 150s, 157s, 147s are going to be a nice area of support. Ultimately, if we lose that 147, the chart does have room towards this 129. Okay, we can't neglect that. We can see it's there. That's the next support below that 147. So always have to understand and be aware of that as well. LCID. Funky looking chart. I've been watching this for a few days. It broke down, increased selling volume here and kind of moving up on lower volume, rejecting that, and now just all of a sudden gets some green volume. I'm not sure really what this is trying to do, but I wouldn't touch this thing unless it gets above 2050, and then if it gets under right here, under that 1870 area, I'd short it. If it gets over that 2060 area, I'd buy calls towards the 200. Under 1870, I'd buy puts on it. DUOL. Looks like a new IPO. Whoops. Sorry, I muted myself. Looks like a new IPO. Not really a big fan of these new IPOs simply because there's not much levels. I think under the 158.20, we can see a sell-off back towards the 153 and then the 149. And then you could try a scalp long over the 164, but the reversal will happen here at 166.40. And then you can track back up to the 175 and possibly 181. Okay, so maybe make note of these trigger levels. Obviously pulled back, kind of consolidating above 166.70 will push it higher, and below 158.18 will pull it lower. All right, guys. Oscar, thank you. No problem. Lucid long term. If you're thinking about Lucid long term, you can start at these levels, but remember that you have to understand what the financials of the company is, what they're doing, and so forth. Obviously, we know a lot of people chased Lucid at the highs and they're long term now, but they've been in the water for some time now. Thank you. All right, guys. Again, I'll be here every Thursday, 8:30 a.m. We'll catch you guys here. If you're not here, you can watch the video on YouTube, but go ahead and smash the like button, and I'll catch you guys all next time. Thank you for watching, and have yourself a wonderful and safe trading day.